not going to keep you long this morning too much because I have a very bad headache this morning. I literally had to focus to come make this video, but it won't be too long what I need to talk about today. I wanted to talk about the topic of what looks like abandonment is really transformation. And what made me want to talk about this topic is conversations I had with myself, by myself, a while ago. 3, 4 years ago, before I really did a transformation in my life. I was mourning over a life that I thought I should have had, but in reality, even though ideally that's the life that I wanted, as far as my childhood, with my mom and my dad being together, with certain things that I wanted in my childhood that didn't happen, what I realized was that particular life wouldn't have served my purpose. So this is what I wanted to talk about today. Now, as you guys know, I'm very transparent. I talk a lot about my past, but I talk about it in a sense of inspirational, as a learning technique, as a way for people to learn why things happened to me. It wasn't because God hated me, it's because God was guiding me towards my purpose. So, like I said, I wanted to share this story because if you find yourself complaining about what should have happened in your life and the way your life should have gone, you might want to stop. Because for me, for example, I wanted, at least at minimum, if my mom and my dad didn't stay together, I wanted to have the fantasy life with my stepmother and my stepmother and my dad. I wanted to live a happy ever after life. When my stepmother came from Haiti to here, we moved from renting to buying a home. And at the time in my family, back then, a long time ago, you guys, actually, the other day I made a video and said I'm 46. Actually, I'm 47. I forgot I had a birthday this year. But I'm 47 years old, so it's been a while. I was 10 years old, and in my family at the time, my dad bought a house, and it was a huge thing in my family, home ownership. So we had moved to a nice, beautiful home in Hialeah, and it looks like my dad, me, my older sister, and my stepmom were going to have this amazing life because of this new home that we bought. But now that I'm older, I'm realizing a house is just a house. The people that live in a house have to make it a house or home. With the fantasy that I had as a kid, what I thought was going to happen didn't happen. I didn't get along with my stepmother. My older sister-in-law didn't get along with my stepmother. I'm not here to judge my dad, because condemnation is something that does serve anyone any purpose. Whatever bad decisions he made, that's between him and his maker, not me. I feel that better decisions could have been made. However, at the end of the day, if I did not get sent to my auntie Mani house, who I am today, who you guys are listening today, I would not be that person. Why? Because when I was living with my dad and my stepmother, there was no structure in the house. And I want to give a disclaimer. This is not to talk bad about my family. I am using this particular story as an example to show you when your life shifts in a different direction that you necessarily don't want it to shift. It doesn't mean that God is abandoning you. It doesn't mean God hates you. It doesn't mean that you have bad luck. So this is my disclaimer. This is not to talk bad about anybody. When I lived with my dad and my stepmother, my stepmother, from the time she came from Haiti, was a full-time housewife. There was no really structure in a home as far as discipline and things you needed to do in a house. Like, there was no rules. There was nothing. I just did what I wanted to do. So when my dad was sick and tired of me, of not getting along with my stepmother and disrespecting her, because in truth, the main reason why I was disrespecting my stepmother, is because she took the most important thing in my life at the time, was my older sister. When my older sister was gone, it was displaced anger. All the anger that I felt towards my sister not being there, I projected towards my stepmother. So as a result, we didn't get along. So my dad sent me to my aunt, and it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. Guys, if my dad did not send me to my aunt, who you are listening to today, I would not be here. I would be a complete hot mess. It's equivalent to the story where Oprah Winfrey, when she was sent to her dad's house, and she said that was one of the best decisions ever, even though some things may have gone wrong, but it was one of the best decisions ever for her to go live with her dad. Same thing. When I went to go live with my auntie Mani, and let me tell you something, my auntie Mani visually is about this high, 4 feet high. But honey, that little woman, honey, she don't play no mess. When I went to live with her, I had a cultural shock. She was like, okay, there's rules in this house. Every Saturday, you're going to wake up and you're going to clean this house from top to bottom. You're also going to wash your own clothes. I'm going to provide you with this buggy, this thing that you would pull. People in New York use it a lot to grocery shop. I don't know how you call it. So I'm going to provide you with this buggy. Every weekend, you're going to go and wash your clothes at the laundromat. And I'm going to teach you how to iron your clothes. This is your room. Your room must be clean at all times. She taught me how to iron. I didn't know how to do that. She showed me how to go to the laundromat by myself to wash my clothes. Every weekend I wash my clothes. Every weekend I iron my clothes. Then I was in charge of cleaning the house. Then one day she caught me going to bed without taking a shower. She said, in this house, we don't do that. We take a minimum of 2 to 3 showers a day. You will never go to bed not taking a shower. She's the one that trained me about taking care of your body, having daily routine. I'm telling you guys, if it wasn't for my auntie Mani, who you see today would not be today. I had to clean that house every Saturday. I had to take a shower in the morning, take a shower at night, and then she would monitor me, make sure that I'm lotioning up. She goes, always put body spray on, always put perfume on. A woman should never smell. You should never have body odor. When it's time of the month, no one in the house should know. This is how you dispose of your stuff in a clean way. And she says, this is important. And when she would cook, she would make me stand next to her. And she would tell me why it's important to learn how to cook. And then she told me there's nothing wrong with people cooking for you, but you want to make sure that you can cook for yourself. And at the time when all of this was happening, I would sit there and watch these kids outside playing because I was only allotted a certain amount of time to play. And at the time, for those of you who live in down south Miami, it's called Sable Palm. And you guys are not in my age group, but back then, if you live in Sable Palm, child, you were middle class. And I had lived in Sable Palm, and I hadn't been exposed. I had been exposed to African American and Spanish people in Hialeah, but I hadn't been exposed to all white neighborhood. So my aunt lived in Sable Palm at the time, and Sable Palm at the time was like fancy. So I would see all these white kids outside playing. She goes, yes, those white kids can do that because they're white. She says, but you need to be in here for this a lot of time, and you can only play out for this a lot of time. So as I'm watching her cook, my eyes were always watching the kids and watching the clock because my time was coming up to go play outside. So my aunt set this daily structure in my life. Like there was a time that I woke up to get ready for school. My bed always had to be made. Then she would make sure that I was representable. She said, you never leave the house looking a hot mess. Always take care of you. Always smell good. She provided me with deodorant, told me always to put deodorant on. I didn't have that. And this is not to talk bad about my stepmother and my mother, please. It's not about that. I'm just telling you, I did not have all of that when I lived with my dad and my stepmother. So every morning I had this set routine. Boom, 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 boom. And then it came to academics. I came home, y'all, with like average grades. She was like, oh, I'm so sorry. This is my fault. My auntie Mani said in Creole, c'est faute pas tout ça, c'est pas problème ça, c'est moi-même, which means it's not your fault. I didn't explain to you the rules and regulation when it comes to academic expectations in this house. The problem is you don't bring anything but an A in this house, period. A's in this house, A's. You will be reading, because at the time I wasn't reading because of my aunt. I was started to read. I went and bought books because if I did not read, if she didn't see me reading at a certain amount of time, I got in trouble for not reading. My auntie Mani is the best thing that freaking happened to me. That little short woman is like a ball of fire. And she's probably the only one on this planet outside of my grandmother that I'm scared of. My grandmother and my auntie Mani are probably the two people on this planet that will walk in this room will make me sweat because I am scared of that 4 feet woman. And I think my grandmother is 4 feet too. What is with these short women? But what I'm saying to you is, what I'm telling you right now, you could apply it to any area in your life. The job that is tripping, that demoted you or won't promote you or have you in a certain area, they think they're doing something to you. And what they don't know is that God is probably putting you in that particular position and you don't want to be in to teach you something. God is building your foundation for your future. I didn't see it at 10 years old, that what God was doing for me. And people may say, well, what's the big deal? So what? Your aunt showed you discipline. Because discipline has a lot to do with my purpose right now. If I don't get, there's not every day that I want to get up and make a video or write a devotional or put something on social media. There's a lot going on in my life that people don't know about. Sometimes I just want to stay in bed. But that discipline, that seed that my auntie Nani planted to me has always remained dormant in my spirit. It is who I am because she instilled it in me. And anytime I trip, anytime I went this way, she pulled me that way. So what looked like abandonment at 10 years old, oh my God, my dad doesn't want me. Oh my God, my stepmother hates me. I was resentful towards my stepmother. I was like, oh, she finally got the life that she wanted. She got my sister out and she got me out. She got her husband to herself. I was bitter and upset. I'm mad. Thank God for healing and forgiveness. Thank you, Jesus, for me forgiving that woman. Thank you, Lord, because I no longer have bitterness in my heart. I thank her for that, because if she did not behave the way she behaved, I wouldn't have been able to be exposed to my auntie Mani. So any area in your life right now, people who don't have the ideal childhood and you're admiring other people who have great relationships with their mother, great relationships with their father, and you're admiring that and you wish it was you, stop it. The life that you have is exactly the life that you're supposed to have. Where you are is exactly where you're supposed to be. You are right on time. You are right where you're supposed to be. I was supposed to be sent to my auntie Mani. Auntie Mani was supposed to make my life inconvenient. She was supposed to teach me how to do laundry and iron clothes. She was supposed to put me on a schedule even though I didn't like it. It was supposed to happen, all the stuff that she did to me. Had she not did all that stuff, the core of who I am would not be here today. And the very things that she instilled in me are the very things that I'm applying on a daily basis until today. Until today. That discipline that she applied in me, that daily routine that she applied in me is a positive in my life today. She is one of the best things. My auntie Mani is one of the best things that ever happened to me. And I'm ever so grateful. Ever so grateful. I let the fantasy go that I wanted. The mother and father in the home. The perfect childhood. I am so honored that God picked the path that he picked for me. I'm so honored and grateful that he inconvenienced me. I have never been so grateful for inconvenience in my life. So what you think is an L is maybe not an L. It's maybe God's way of planting seeds in your life. Everything is not an L. What looks like an L is actually a win. So that's why I wanted to share with you. I don't know who needed to hear this, but whatever's not working out, and you have this vision of how you want your life to be, and it's going the opposite way, instead of resisting, ask God to show you why this is happening. This happened to me the other day. I had an emotional moment and I was praying. I'm like, God, what am I doing wrong? What is it that you need me to do? Because I was going through this checklist of doing a self-assessment every day, and I was looking on the list. I'm like, I'm doing everything you're telling me to do. What am I missing? And you know what? He showed me. He showed me the areas that I needed to improve in. Whenever you feel like you're confused, you don't know what's going on, instead of picking up the phone and calling somebody, talk to God, ask him. And I'm not saying being all super religious, kneeling down, you know, you can just talk to him like I'm talking to you guys, and ask him to show you why certain things is happening in your life. This happened the other day, I think last week. I was talking to my friend and I was like, I need to figure out what I'm doing, what I need to do. And God showed me. And the minute he showed me, I implemented those things in my life, and I have been seeing some improvement in my life. So what looks like abandonment is actually transformation. Is the abandonment is actually, in the abandonment is seeds that are being planted. So don't ever regret the way your life is. You know, I used to regret the way my life is. I wanted the fantasy life, but child, I am so grateful for my path, because if those things didn't happen to me, the people that I minister to, the people that I impact to, the people that I'm able to inspire, I wouldn't have been able to inspire those people if I didn't have the story that I had, if I didn't go through what I went through. So let go of the fantasy and accept the path that God has taken you down, or where you're at right now. And like I said before, anytime you feel like you're wanting a life that you don't have, talk to God. When I say talk to God works, it works. Every single time I go to God, I journal or I talk to him verbally, and I ask him to show me certain things or guide me. He has never left me astray. Never. So hopefully this has helped you guys. Um, I didn't want to take too long. I have a massive headache this morning. Don't know where it come from, but hopefully it will go away. You guys have a nice day, and don't trip over things that's not going your way.